I'm just gonna hang here for a little bit and let this populate to whoever's gonna come on for tonight. And then anybody not doing it tonight, please, 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 I beg you to get your supplies and do this class, you know, at your own time if it doesn't work right now. This is definitely, these hands-on things are really good learning tools. One gal had commented saying her husband doesn't like pasta. I'm sure most of us can be like, oh, that's unheard of, right? But she won't be joining tonight, but she'll probably do it on her own time. But for any of you that might not like pasta, or you want to see a different meal, I'm happy. I would love to do these videos, like hands-on. Hey, here it is. It's a lot of work for me to get like ingredient lists and grocery lists and supply lists and subs, all, you know, kind of like what I did with the files sheet here. But I like that work. So if it means that you guys will come in and do it, I am thrilled to do it. So people are starting to get signed on. Awesome, awesome. I'm still gonna wait a few minutes. So yeah, it's not quite 6:15 yet if you're in the Central Standard Time zone. I was just gonna touch on the chicken. So I made my chicken up yesterday, and I thought I was gonna make it for the week, but I only made 3 chicken breasts. They're pretty big chicken breasts, but because I use 1 whole chicken breast at least for the family pan in this recipe. And then I had it for lunch today, and now I'm gonna have it for supper. I'm down to like 1 breast left, which won't get me through the rest of the week. But I just saw a really good, super simple recipe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. And I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna show it to you guys, because it is gonna be like food prep. It'll be just glorious chicken prep if it works out. Anyway, yesterday when I made my chicken breasts, I just grilled them. So I put them in a big Ziploc bag with some chicken broth in there. And I use this Trader Joe's Sofrito seasoning. It's an obviously Italian seasoning. This stuff is so delicious, but it puts such a nice, see if I can get you a good chunk of the chicken here. Such a nice seasoning on that chicken. Delicious. And it works really good for this dish. Since this is an Italian dish, it works really well. So yay for Trader Joe's. We don't have Trader Joe's around here. Arizona does, so maybe I need to visit Arizona again. So anyway, that's how I cooked my chicken. But when I said, you know, be sure you have prepped chicken coming into this. It can be anything. I mean, you could have made it in the crock pot. You can grill it, you can bake it, you can put it on the stovetop. I don't care how it's made. You don't have to season it at all if you don't want to, because we're using seasonings in the dish. Typically when I make bulk chicken, I'll either use something like this seasoning, because this just goes with so much stuff, but a lot of times I'll just leave it plain, so that way if I want Mexican, I can make some Mexican something for lunch, and then, you know, so you can season it as you go, which is really, really nice. So just making a bulk batch of chicken plain. Sometimes I shred it, sometimes I just leave it whole. But yeah, making grilled chicken works really good to slice it like this. It's so tender. I could just eat the snot out of that stuff. So, got a few of you on now. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. So as we're doing this, you might come up with questions. Totally okay for you to post the questions. I will probably not see them in the moment. So if you have a question in the moment, just do your best if it's like a big deal to guess. So I gave that list in the file section so that you guys know how much Parmesan cheese to use, how much cream cheese to use, and how many noodles to use. And your plan already indicates how much chicken to use. If you're using chicken, maybe you're using something else. It doesn't matter if you use a different protein source. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I just use a grocery store cheese tortellini. So your package should be at least a 1 pound package. Go ahead and open that up. And I don't know if Denise is on here or not, but if she is, happy anniversary. I think it was Denise. That was Denise. Yeah, it's Denise's anniversary. So happy anniversary. Okay, I'm struggling, obviously, to get the bag open. Seriously. Okay. All right. So we're doing our own portion with the family portion. So you should have 2 pots on your stove for boiling water. Have water in them. If you don't have water in them right now, it's okay. Put yours on the scale. Zero it out. Measure out the amount that you get according to the notes that I sent. So for me, I'm gonna do 60 grams. So it's not a ton. Okay. And then the rest, we're just gonna dump into the family pot. Lucky them. Oop. Now, if you don't have water in your pots, go ahead, put water in your pot. Once you have your noodles weighed out and in your water, go ahead and turn your burners on. We're gonna let that boil up. All right, so while that's boiling, I'm gonna get out my strainer. I don't know if I asked you guys to get a strainer out or not. If not, get your strainers out because we're gonna have to empty the noodles, right? I'm just gonna set that in the sink so that that's ready. All right, so we've got a baby pan here. Oh, I turned on the wrong burner. That's not gonna get my noodles burning very fast. Okay, so we've got our pan and we've got the family pan over here. So I'm gonna start in the family pan. We're gonna take our olive oil, drizzle, I drizzle. If you wanna measure it out, you can measure it out, but I just drizzle some in there. Turn the heat on. We're gonna heat that up. And I'm like I love to clean and pick up as I go along because then it's just less to clean up at the end. So I just put my oil away. And as it's heating up, you guys should have so here I have sun-dried tomatoes. We like the sun-dried tomatoes, or you can use canned tomatoes, is totally fine. Or if you want fresh, you can use fresh. But we'll use tomatoes, so we're gonna put the tomatoes and some of the garlic. I've got minced garlic here. We're gonna put these in the family pan, not all, because we wanna save some for ourselves, right? So I'm going to put some of that into the family pan. And then I've got some set aside here still for me. So I'm just gonna set that off to the side. Now when we use sun-dried tomatoes, we wanna use them not in oil, just the regular sun-dried tomatoes like in the packages, because if you use sun-dried tomatoes in oil, they're just soaked with fat. Since we are already going to kind of rejuvenate them in oil in the pan, we don't need to have them soaking in oil in the can. So, just gonna cook this up a little bit. Some life will come back to those tomatoes, and we'll get the garlic going. These noodles too, these tortellini noodles cook super fast. So So while we've got this kind of going, grab your flour. I just have a bag of flour here. We're gonna take 2 tablespoons, right? Yes, 2 tablespoons of this flour, and we're gonna add it to the half and half, or cream. Maybe you have cream. I thought I had a whisk out, but apparently I don't. See, I'm asking you guys to be all on top of it, and I'm not even on top of it. All right, whisk. Very good. 2 tablespoons of flour. Dump her in there. Whisk it up carefully. It's getting hot in here. I'm not going to turn the fans on though, because then it'll be hard to hear. So, got that all whisked up. And then your seasonings. So, I made up the seasonings. I just put them in a little dish, just as these were made as I printed them out on that paper. And so what we'll do is just put some in our own, and then we'll put the rest in the family pan. But if you find a seasoning, like from a recipe that you like, make a whole bunch of it, because you can. That's what I do with my sausage seasoning online. This is getting low, but I just make a whole bunch of it. I just like quadruple, triple, whatever the recipe to have more. And I save some of the empty bottles that I get and load them. So if you like this seasoning, just make a whole bunch of it and put it in a container, and you can sprinkle it on about anything. So getting comfortable in seasonings is not easy, right? A lot of people, are like, I don't know how to cook, or I'm afraid to cook because I don't know what seasonings to use. So it does take some practice. All right, turn the heat down a little bit on your garlic pan. And we're going to add in our flour mix. I'm just going to set the whisk in my pan for a moment. Woo! That was not intended. But I would like to pretend that was, like, I'm a Top Chef cook. Flamethrower. So this sauce will start to thicken up. You want to constantly stir, otherwise the milk will burn to the bottom of the pan. So mine's already starting to thicken, so I'm actually going to turn my burner off for the moment because it's getting thick enough here. I've got enough heat that I already know. And now I'm going to add the chicken into it. If you're not thick yet, it's okay. Don't worry. Keep heating until it's thickened. Thick. All right. Oh, I've got the family chicken. I just have it here in a bowl. Just add that in. And then I'm going to add in the spinach. Get this stirred up. Oh, it's such a pretty color. Now, if I find that this gets too thick and I want to have more liquid, you can always add more at any point. Like right now, I probably am inclined to add a little bit of broth to this. I don't necessarily want to add more heavy cream or half and half, whatever. But it's looking really good right now. So heat is off. I'm just gonna let that hang out for a little bit. Spinach is gonna wilt and get all nice. Now you could do what you want, like you could add in, turn your burner on. You could totally add in like mushrooms, make it your own, right? you want something else, like I like to add red pepper flakes to mine to make it more spicy. Okay, so we've got our pan here. Remember, we've got a little bit of the tomatoes and garlic, which we're going to go ahead and dump those into the pan, but instead of using oil, just use a touch of broth. Doesn't take a lot, just a touch. And I've got just half a cup of broth here, because this is what we're going to add our flour to. So as ours is heating up here, take your flour, and we want 2 teaspoons of flour in ours. 2 teaspoons is 18 calories. So it's really going to be fine. Not going to be the end of our progress there for sure, right? And let's just stir that up. So this broth, it's gonna, again, same thing, it's gonna bring life back to those sun-dried tomatoes. Now, I don't know where you're at on your noodles boiling, but if your noodles get done before mine, just shut the burners off. You can start to strain them if you want. Mine are, you'll know when they're done because they usually come to the top of the pan, but I'm gonna turn my burners up a little bit. Okay, I hope you guys are doing okay, following along here. So we've got our little mixture of chicken broth and flour. Now the last time I did this, I did both pans simultaneously, and it got to be like, a little stressful, and I didn't want to do that in this video. So this is going a little bit slower than if you did them both at the same time, of course. So go ahead and dump that into the pan. No flames there, that's okay. Now for us, we're gonna use cream cheese instead of half and half. Now, you could use half and half. You could use whole cream in yours. You can use those fats however you wish, totally fine. Denise. Oh, the dog ran off with the garlic, oh my goodness. Well, have fun with that later. That's making me laugh. Keep stirring this though. But I like to use cream cheese as a fat source anytime a recipe calls for like heavy cream or half and half. And the reason I like cream cheese is because it's just creamier. It's thicker, it's creamier, and it just makes your meal feel like a really good treat. All right, so mine's kind of thickened up here. I'm gonna shut the burner off. Now, I've got my cream cheese. So I get 31 grams of cream cheese. I am not doing Parmesan on mine. So I'm gonna open that up. And we will turn the scale on and zero it out. Me and my inability to open packages today is something fierce. Seriously. All right. My best friend is a dental hygienist, and she has taught me to not use my teeth. Okay, zero out the scale. 31 grams. You could also use, yes, like a 1/3 fat or whatever, but I really like just regular cream cheese. All right. I'm gonna call that close enough. I'm at 30. Go ahead and dump your cream cheese when you're ready into your pan. Stir it up. I'm My noodles are done, so I'll turn those burners off. Just stir it till it's incorporated and ready. I'm gonna turn my burner on just to melt it up a little better. Seriously, when I do these and I make like my meal and then I make the family meal, mine is usually better. And then every time I'm making, like sometimes I'll make them something like goulash or tuna noodle casserole, and I like them, but they're not worth me. I would just rather have one of my meals. And so every time I make one of my meals, then they're like, oh, yours looks really good. Yours looks better. Oh, yeah, you know, I never win. All right. There we go. I'm gonna add in my chicken. And I'm gonna just reuse this bowl for my meal. And then I'm gonna add in some spinach. Have a heyday with the spinach, you know, it's free. Great nutrients in it. Need to switch to my little spoon. So I have the heat on just a little bit on my burner here. Help wilt down some of that spinach. Now the family pan over here is looking a little bit thick. So I'm gonna actually get a little bit of chicken broth. I'm gonna turn the heat back on a little bit. I'm gonna bump into you guys here. I'm gonna grab my broth. Just gonna add a touch of broth in there. I'm going to turn the burner off on mine. Oh, this looks amazing. All right. Now the only thing left to add to these is seasoning. So I just take into my seasoning jar and just pour whatever you want on yours. And then dump the rest into the family pan. Stir it up. This one looks really good, so I'm gonna turn that burner back off. I know, like if you guys have an electric stove, it's probably a little bit not as easy maybe to turn the burners on and off, but gas stove, everything cooks so quickly. So if you're a little bit, you know, behind where I'm at, totally fine, it's okay. It's all simple. I will recap. So we've got our noodles boiled. You've added your chicken and cream, flour, all to your pans. We've added our seasonings, added the spinach. Now, if you know, this meal honestly comes together super fast as long as you have chicken prepped. So that's one reason, I mean, I love having something prepped, a little bit of meat prepped in the very beginning of the week, because then every meal I make for the rest of the week is really fast to pull together. And like, it took me, what, 20 minutes to grill chicken yesterday? So oh, that's definitely worth saving some time today. But there is my pan. That's my very own little serving. So I'm gonna actually grab some red pepper flakes because I'm gonna spice it up. Like I said, totally optional. You guys don't have to do that. I've got to find my red pepper flakes. There they are. I don't do this to the family one because everybody's like, oh, it's spicy. my oldest daughter could handle it, but I don't know. I'm teaching them though. I'm trying to like slowly integrate some of the spice into their meals, like hot spicy. I don't know why. I used to not like spicy foods, but now for some reason I love them. I think because it slows down my eating, and I feel like it's a challenge. I love to be challenged. So I'm like, ooh, how hot can I get it and still eat it? Okay. So that is that, pretty much. Now we're just gonna empty our noodles. So I'll start with mine. I'm gonna empty it into the strainer. Like my whole 5 noodles. Seriously. This is why I will rarely ever choose pasta as my carb source, because it is just so low volume. And you could use like any kind of pasta with this. It doesn't have to be tortellini. Apparently there's some TikTok thing where today you're supposed to make rigatoni. I don't know what it's about. I'm clueless. I'm not up on my TikTok, but you could totally use like a regular pasta noodle and just use it according to the plan. So there is my amazing meal and your amazing meal. I will unload the family one into the strainer. And just dump it right into the pan. Oh, yum. Seriously. So I will say that my favorite pasta meal was from a place, everybody from around here will know what it is, but if you're not from around here, you might not know what it is, but it was called Spezia. And it was an Italian place. And they had this Cajun chicken, or Acadian Cajun chicken pasta that was just to die for. Something like that, chicken Acadian pasta, whatever. Oh, it was so good. This kind of reminds me of it, although this isn't Cajun seasoning. So there we go, that's supper. It is all done. So basically it's just putting away your stuff. I'm gonna use that bowl actually for my husband, but all right, so no, you didn't miss the parm step. That's right now. So if you are using Parmesan cheese for your thing, you're gonna weigh it out, zero out your scale, put your parm on there. You're gonna top your pasta with the Parmesan cheese. So, good question. I did kind of forget, I mean, you reminded me, but it goes on here right at the very end, but I wasn't using it on mine, so that's why I missed it. So there it is. Super simple. It is not even 6:40. We started at 6:15 and you've got a family meal and a meal for you complete. Now, please, please, please let me know if you want to see more recipes, but don't just say yes. Tell me what you want me to make. Tell me what you want to see, and we will do a live class and we will make them. I think for right now, it looks like I'm caught up on your guys' comments. So I hope you guys are kind of finishing up your meals at your house too. I hope you have a really happy family after you make this meal for them. Our family loves this one. And then I think you're gonna have a really happy tummy after eating it too. This is so good. So, all right. Drop your questions if you end up having some, and then your meal ideas, and we'll do more. Have a great night, you guys.